business. It's business time. Hang tight, we're gonna get into the business right here in a couple minutes. Baby, baby. It's business. It's business time.
All right, we are here with week 36 of It's Business Time, joined this week by Joe Belardo of Delaware Music Network. Thank you for joining us, Joe. Appreciate you, man.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. This has been a long time coming for sure.
Right.
We've known each other a little while now, and we have crossed paths more times than I can count.
Right. Yeah.
And so, yeah, man, I'm excited to get into kind of where a lot of this began, what you're up to now. Before we get rolling real quick, I do always like to give a real fast shout out to Stitch House Brewery. They are right here on Market Street. Always have 12 beers on tap, great food. They're a small business as well. So if you find yourself in the Market Street area, stop by, say hello. And with that, man, we are rolling. So
Okay.
thanks again for joining.
All right.
We got Joe Belardo in the house. This is cool. You've put together a lot of the events I've been to over the last year, and we kind of met through almost like a year ago through some kind of booking and conversations about like events and things like that.
Yeah.
And we're going to get to that here in a minute.
Okay.
But what I like to do, just for a little bit of the story element of this, is I like to kind of go back to what were you doing before you started Delaware Music Network, and what kind of got your wheels turning to say, you know what, I think it's time to kind of strike out, start this brand, start this company, and start doing all the stuff that you're doing now. Can you tell us a little bit about those early days?
Yeah. So one thing about me, and people who know me know this, pretty much my whole life I've been about building community. I feel like culture is the answer to everything. So, we could sit around and talk about, what's going on, what's wrong in the world, what's wrong with society and everything.
Right.
And I feel like culture and community are the answer to any one of those questions.
Yeah.
Some people are activists and
Right.
things like that. I'm a culturalist. I'm not an activist.
I like that.
Yeah,
I like
I'm a
that.
culturalist.
Yeah.
So I believe through culture, through changing our culture, or by having healthy culture and community, everything is possible. Anything that we want to see happen can happen.
Right.
So toward that end, what was I doing before Delaware Music Network? And that was it.
Yeah.
I was heavily involved. I was studying African culture, studying, of course, American culture and world culture, and just seeing how it all exists and how our place is in the world. Like, how did we get here to where we are now? Like, look at everything that's going on. I always want to know, like, well, why is this? Why are we doing this?
How did it come to be?
Yeah. Why do we celebrate?
They got the windows open over here.
That's all good.
Yeah.
Why do we celebrate a man coming down the chimney once a year?
Right.
I'm that kind of person. I always want to figure out what's going on. So to make a long story short, I opened up my house because I said, hey, if you're about community, whatever, it starts with you.
Right.
So I opened up my own house that I live in, and I renamed my house Umoja House.
Okay.
And the word Umoja means unity.
Okay.
So my house was now called Unity House, and we would meet every Saturday at my house.
All right.
And I did as much to support community as I could. So I would I understand economics is part of community, so I would allow people to sell. I knew people that maybe they make their own shea butter, or they make clothes or whatever, whatever they make. I would sell it on consignment because I was like, I can't turn my house into a flea market, but I can set up shelving, and so people would hang out at my house. And then while they were there, they could buy something. We could sit around and listen to music.
Yeah.
We could talk. We actually would give classes and lessons in my house about different things to help people. If you could cook, I was like, come over, make platters, sell them.
Right, yeah.
We'd sit and eat, and so we were doing this once a week, every Saturday. We were doing this at my house. Now, my sphere of influence, I know a lot of people that do music, as you know. So,
for sure.
it's only right and natural that as I'm opening up to community, my community involved a lot of musicians and music artists. So I started selling their stuff as part of the consignment, their CDs or whatever they had, their merch, the T-shirts.
Right.
And then I said, well, if NPR can have a concert in their office, I can do one in my living room.
Right.
So
Yeah, the tiny desk. Yeah,
so we did a tiny living room.
Yeah, tiny
So
living room.
early on, I had people such as Jay Street. Shout out to Jay Street.
Yeah, Jay Street.
He did a concert in my living room. John Carr, Anaya Jazz.
Yep.
Of course, my daughter's a vocalist, Joe Belardo. She performed in my living room.
Big shout out there for sure.
Yeah.
She's incredible.
So we were doing concerts at a Moja House. And from there, and then the conversations I was having with those musicians, and some of these people were quote unquote accomplished,
Right.
to where they could get certain gigs and whatever.
Yeah.
They weren't trying to figure out how to get gigs,
Right.
but they were trying to figure out how to get the original work. How do we get that
Right.
out there? Because, on the gig, they want you to do covers.
Right.
A lot of people
especially in smaller areas.
Yeah, it's like, well, okay, well, we could do that, but we have our own music that we create, and we want to be able to, show the world what we can do.
Yeah.
And again, I had their CDs, and we were selling them, and I was like, these are pretty good. I had some talented artists in a Moja House.
What year was this, if you don't mind? What
Moja
year
House.
did you start? Moja House.
I don't know exactly what year, but I know Delaware Music Network was 2019.
Okay.
Maybe Moja House was 2016, 17 or something.
Got you.
But I don't know exactly. That's a good question. I just kind of do things. I don't always.
I like that. And as you're recalling it, I can kind of see, like the tapestry of kind of like all these community and people, and you're recalling and stuff.
Yeah.
I only ask that because, this series is largely about, like, for those who haven't built something yet and are thinking about what to do and how to build the thing that they want to build, whether that's community or music network or business or whatever.
Right.
And so it helps a little bit to get like an idea of a timeline.
Yeah.
Because often, people will sell the shea butter for years online or to their friends before they can afford that, like, brick and mortar, before they can afford the website and all that stuff.
Yeah, and that's what a Moja House was there for, because a lot of the people that I knew didn't have brick and mortars, but they had the talent and they could make the products. Some of them were authors. We had books that we were selling out of a Moja House. So it was basically just a place where anybody, you could call it an incubator if you want to.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, we created a way where people can they can use MySpace to do whatever, launch whatever they're launching.
Yeah, I love it.
So now fast forward to today, we have our open mic that we do once a month, and we have people come and vend.
Yeah.
So they're still doing this. It's the same thing.
Right, yeah.
We just kind of took it out of my house and just
I
brought
love
it out.
that because that's honestly, that's like the biggest piece of advice I can give anyone who's trying to build something. Is to do it at a reasonable pace. Where you don't, like, go too fast and you anger people or you lose money or you do all that, but you also don't go too slow where everyone's wondering, are they going to do anything?
Right.
And that's one of the things I've appreciated kind of watching the way you move in the scene, is that you do it with a lot of intention and you move in a way that's, like, very steady and very good for the people I think you surround yourself with.
I appreciate you for saying that, and I appreciate the observation. In my mind, because I've been studying culture, I would say probably since I was in high school. A lot of things I kind of have an understanding of, but I'm not here to try to preach to anybody or anything. I'm just literally trying to be the living example of how to get things done. So I I put things together in a way, and I allow people to come into the space of what I'm doing,
Right.
rather than try to force the issue.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know, like you said, or do anything too fast or too slow. I'm moving at a pace that everyone around me can handle.
Right. Right. Yeah.
You know, because in my mind, I'm like, man, let's go to Madison Square Garden and do a concert.
Yeah.
you
Right.
know?
No. I
But
know.
we're not ready yet.
Well, that's actually funny. That's a good segue into kind of our early like getting to know each other.
Yeah.
And why I appreciate the way you move in the scene is because, you know, we will definitely, like Canopy Crow Productions and you know, Delaware Music Network, we'll do something at some point, right?
Yeah.
But each time it's been like we kind of chat and we're like, oh, this kind of makes sense this way and that way, and then we, you know, and it's with a lot of intention.
Yeah.
And I only want to work with you when I know I can add a lot of value.
Yeah.
You know, and I see you doing the same thing with others.
Yeah.
And so it's been really, and of course, you know, I've been on a few Delaware Music Network shows. The one with D Harv, the Rhythms at Icons, and stuff like that. And a lot of our network is very intertwined. But yeah, you mentioned the libraries, the open mic at the libraries. I know that's a big kind of feeder for your network. Do you mind talking a little bit about the open mics up here at Wilmington Library?
Yeah, so once a month, the first Wednesday of every month,
Wednesday.
From 6 to 10 p.m., we are at the Wilmington Public Library right here in Rodney Square, feet away from where we're sitting right now.
Yeah, 1 block that way.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that is the foundation. That is the, I guess if we're a society, that's the initiation into our society.
Right.
And we use it, again, as a network. We're Delaware Music Network, so our open mic is a networking event. It's a jam session.
Yep.
It's an open mic. It's also a showcase for artists who have some things together.
Yep.
But it's a place where everybody who's there can move at the level that they're ready to move at.
Yep.
Yeah, so some of the artists that come are very established, and they're like, Joe, I just got contacted recently. Hey, Joe, I got new material I made, and I want to try it out. Can you put me down as one of the artists?
Yep.
And you know, with them, I will. You know.
Yeah.
Others are like, this is my first time. I've never performed in front of people at all.
Right. That's awesome.
You know, so that's what the open mic is for. You know, get in front of people. You know, so it's a little bit of everything for every artist.
Right.
And my hope and wish and dream for every artist is to participate, because similar to you know everybody likes to talk about Allen Iverson. He's like, it's practice, it's practice.
Yeah.
But you know what Allen didn't understand, and I feel like all the artists, all people that do something need to understand, was practice wasn't just for him.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, you can score 30 points a game anytime you want.
Right.
But your team isn't going to win if your teammates don't know how to play with you.
Right. Yep.
So I want every artist to come to the library. And I know some artists are like, hey, but I've done this and this and that.
Right.
I don't need to come to that. No, the community could appreciate you coming to it.
Yeah.
So that the community can become stronger.
Yeah.
And what people don't understand is we're all an organism.
Yeah. Totally.
So people always say, well, why aren't more people from Delaware making it?
Right.
That's because you got people thinking that they're the Iverson. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, only together as a unit, you know, will we succeed. So there's no one person that's going to carry everybody on their back. They're going to make it, and then I'll pull everybody up.
Yeah,
that's not true.
I think there's a lot to be said, too, and this is where, like, the arts and music scene is very similar to the small business world or the business world, but there's a lot to be said about, like, the mentorship, too. So, like, even though that practice might not be for Iverson, for the newer guys on the team to watch how you score 30 points, to watch what it is that how this person moves, that they can achieve that.
Right.
And that's one of the things, like, you know, I like to try and get around people who are at a level that I would like to one day be at, right?
Yes.
And it's not like a star climbing, it's a mentorship. Whether they know it or not, I am watching them because I admire them. I'd like to one day get to where they're at. And in the same vein, there are people that are just starting out that I want them to watch me and see how they can get to where I'm at, and it's like this chain, this community building.
Yes.
Where like I think one of the things that's kind of been lost ever since social media is this idea that like what you just said, but no one person is an island, because with social media, you can sit in your basement and just play and one day become a star, right? But that's like 0.0001% of musicians.
Exactly.
The other 99% of us, it's a community that we build.
And I feel blessed, if you want to call it that, or I've been in the right place at the right time. I'm a little seasoned.
Yeah.
So I grew up, coming up in the 80s. I grew up in New York, in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
And I saw hip hop become what it is.
Yeah.
And so a lot of the local artists were people like MC Light, Big Daddy Kane, and whoever. These are people you saw, like, there they are sitting on a park bench. There they are playing on the playground. And I saw how community took those local artists and made them international names that we all know.
Yep.
So now I'm here in Wilmington, and I feel like Wilmington is Brooklyn.
Yeah.
We haven't released it yet, but we have a project that we're doing at Delaware Music Network. We call it the 1985 Project because we feel like 1985 in Brooklyn is today in Wilmington, Delaware.
Yeah.
And if we could take ourselves to that mindset, we can achieve anything that was achieved anywhere else. But we have to be willing to work in that way.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's one of the things too that I really appreciate. Seeing you out in the scene is, I have a saying, I've been saying this for years, but it's collaboration, not competition. And that's something that you definitely live by. You've worked with just about every artist I can think of in this area, and then a few extras. Well, actually, a lot of extras. I learn about artists through a lot of the events you do.
Right.
And so, I really see that sense of collaboration, that sense of community that you bring to the scene, and this is, and I don't want this to become any sort of like dish session.
Yeah.
But I do always ask businesses, what was like a really difficult time for you, and kind of what did you do to get through that time? So for you, is this like, have there been any events or any moments as you're kind of growing this network where you said, man, I think I'm doing this wrong, or like this was a bad path, or something like that? And again, you don't have to name names or say anything, but and then what did you kind of, like, even if it's mental, right? You're just tired and it's hard to do all this stuff. And then what did you do to get through those moments?
Well, I think the hardest thing, or the biggest challenge for Delaware Music Network is the growth. Change is always difficult for anyone.
Yeah.
And so when Delaware Music Network first started, so go back to 2019 when it first became Delaware Music Network, we started with an open mic, and some of the people around me didn't know that. Some people thought, wow, this is awesome. You did this open mic, this is awesome. They didn't realize that the whole time I got a master plan. We're playing chess here. Like, that was just the first.
This is a marathon,
move.
not a sprint.
Yeah, that was the first move. Like, I didn't do this because I want to do open mics.
Right.
But I understand that an open mic is an integral part of community.
Absolutely.
So I had to have the open mic, and the open mic is always going to be something we do.
Yeah.
Because that is the foundation for building community.
I see that.
But it was never the end game.
Right.
So every time we add another wrinkle, every time we grow, it's hard for the people around, the people that are part of it, and for the people that are our fans and that patronize us, because they're like, whoa, wait, but you do that, I like it. Like, now you're doing this.
Yeah.
But it's all part of it. There's a grand scheme, and my grand scheme is I really want to see many of the artists from our area reach the highest levels they can reach.
Yeah.
And as I know, I mean, we're sitting in rooms with these people, and we're like, wow.
Yeah.
this guy is amazing. This
Right.
lady here is amazing.
Right.
You know, we just were at Finnegan's with Dustin Minucci. And
Yeah, shout out to Finnegan's.
shout out to
and
Finnegan's.
Dustin.
Shout out to Dustin and
Yep.
Greg, the whole crew.
Yeah.
I'm listening to them play, and I'm like, this is sick. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Dustin is so dope on the guitar, you know?
Yeah, and you're right. And they bring and Peaks was there that night.
Peaks
as
was
well.
awesome.
She's great.
Oh, man.
That was so much fun. She got great energy.
Yeah.
But yeah, and that's definitely something to be said about this scene. Is there's some really really talented people.
Yeah.
And it is a network. It's like a fabric, right, that makes these shows kind of work for folks.
Yeah.
And Finnegan's is a great. They've really stepped onto the scene in the last year as like
Yeah.
committing to not just original music but music in general.
They really have.
And they're right next to Galuccio's too. You know, got to give
Yes.
respect to them for they host their open mic and all that
Yes.
stuff. And
Yeah.
so, you know, that little corner of Trolley has become like a really good. If you're looking for live music,
It really has.
you know, stop through that area. And that's one of the things too about like collaboration, not competition.
Right.
Is it's awesome when I'll go to a show for Finnegan's.
Yeah.
I'll catch that, and then at like a set break, I'll pop my head into Galuccio's, see if anyone's playing, and vice versa. I've been to Galuccio's on a Thursday with the Bullets,
Yeah.
and during their break, I'll pop over to Finnegan's. You know, and that's the Brooklyn vibe.
That's
Where it's
exactly
all growing together.
That's
you know?
exactly how it started.
Yeah.
And that's how you create a music scene.
Yeah,
You can't be
yeah.
the only one on the block doing
Right,
something.
right.
Or I'm the best, I'm better than everyone.
Yup.
No, you need a healthy community. And it is, and you see it. Like
Yeah,
Wilmington is
totally.
becoming, you know, shout out to Icons. That's another
Yeah,
spot that we're at all
Icons,
the
yeah.
time.
Always got to shout out Icons.
Shout out
for
Icons.
Sure. Manny and Napoleon for
and
sure.
and they really took that place and made it a
Yeah.
music venue.
It is, yeah. It's a beautiful.
They've done a
music
lot of
venue,
work
yeah.
in there. So shout out to all the places, and you know, because it's a community. It's not just the artists, but it's the business owners that support the artists
Yeah, totally.
and give the opportunity for them to shine. And together, it's a symbiotic relationship. Together, the businesses can make more money, the artists can make more money, and we, the people who reside here, can have an awesome place to go to.
Yeah, yeah, totally.
Yeah, you know,
Yeah.
that's how a place becomes cool. Because when you could do what you just mentioned earlier,
Yeah.
when you don't even have to hop in a car, when you could just walk down the street
Right.
and hop from one show to the next and the next and the next. And it's
Yeah.
like there's many times where we've been at Finnegan's and, like you said, go to Galuccio's, and from there we're like, let's swing by Icons after that.
Yeah,
And,
yeah.
you know, there's been many times, and there have been times where they've come to the library at our event, and then they
Yep.
slide somewhere else, and they're like, we're going to go here. And
Exactly. Yeah, you mentioned the library, and there's a lot of times where I'm coming to this. So I do this every Wednesday.
Right.
And I'll see the line wrapped around the block waiting
Yeah.
to get into your event at the library.
Yeah.
And then just, you know, Paul just walked in, so a little shout out to Urban Arts Exchange as well.
Yes,
We got a
yes.
good friend of ours, Ty Mathis, playing over there today.
I know.
And then, you know, after your event on Wednesdays, my event on Wednesdays, then Icons has their open mic, and it is really starting to build.
Yes.
Really starting to get rolling. And, yeah, it's exciting to be part of this scene, and I'm really grateful that people like you are in there curating, because you
Thank you.
clearly care a lot, too, just about the people you work with. You know,
Yeah.
there's a it goes beyond the, like, I'm bored, and into the, you know, I've talked to you a lot about specific artists and how much you want to see them succeed.
Yeah.
And so there's a genuineness there too, which is, you know,
Thank you. Yeah.
great to
I
see.
appreciate it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thank you for all your kind words.
Yeah, no,
You know,
for
I
sure.
just do it. I love it. I love
Yeah.
music. I've loved music since I was pretty much a baby.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just here. I want to see everyone win. If everyone wins, I'm winning too.
You're right.
Because
right.
I'm sitting in the audience and I'm watching these concerts, you know. So it's not just business for me. I really enjoy,
Yeah.
you know,
yeah. I
the
get
music
that.
and hearing everybody. So I want to see everybody win, so that we can do this and do it even at a higher level.
Yeah, I love
Yeah.
that. See everybody win. That is a really good segue into,
Yeah.
you know, I want to keep these somewhat digestible, around
Okay,
20,
okay.
25 minutes.
Gotcha.
So let's take a minute and just make sure everyone knows how to find you. What's the best place to reach out if they want to do some booking, if they want to come see a show? Is that Facebook, Instagram,
Yeah.
all the above?
I would say Facebook and Instagram are the best ways to follow me.
And that's Delaware Music Network?
On Facebook, I'm Joe Belardo. On Instagram, Average Joe BK. And also, Delaware Music Network is on Facebook and Instagram, so you can follow the Delaware Music Network page. You can follow my pages as well. And in doing that, you'll get to see everything I do. Now, if you want to meet me in the physical, or if you want to talk to me, like you asked about booking everything, I'm a do it in person kind of guy.
Right.
So come to the Wilmington Public Library the first Wednesday every month. I'm there from 6 to 10, like clockwork.
First Wednesday.
First Wednesday.
First Wednesday.
The first Wednesday of every month.
Got you.
6 to 10 at the library. I will be there, and you can. Every day I sit there. I sit in the back of the room. I let everybody do what they do.
Yeah.
And feel free. It's a networking event, so come there to network.
All right, yeah. So this is Joe.
Thank you.
Go to the first Wednesday.
Yes.
He's in the back of the room. Go say hi to him.
Yes.
Ask him about the shows he's got going on. Yeah, man, I'm really excited to see, everything that you're building and everything that you're doing continue.
Thank you.
And I really appreciate you taking the time today to come through. I know Wednesdays are normally like a tough one to schedule for you. So.
It can be.
Yeah. But yeah, Joe, before I let you go, is there anything you wanted to shout out coming up, or the best thing to do is catch you on the socials, catch you on
Yeah, catch me on the socials. Our next event is our next open mic at the library.
the Wilmington Library.
Yeah, so that's the first Wednesday, I think, is the 5th of June.
Yeah.
Is the first Wednesday of June.
Sounds right. First is a Saturday. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Yeah, the 5th.
The 5th, so we'll be there. And just follow us. We have so many great, amazing things we're going to do this year. I will share that we've now become a nonprofit organization.
Oh, wow. Congrats, man.
So now, because a lot of the artists, they can't afford. We do, I didn't say this before, but we also do coaching and consultations.
Yeah.
So it's not just the events. We actually sit and give classes on how do you get your branding right? How do you get your business right? So we really take people that are artists and make them into business artists.
And tax-deductible donations.
Right. So we realize that by becoming a nonprofit, we can get funding to help people do.
To help, more the artist development side. Yeah, because artist development, there's a lot of work on the front end, and you're not sure what the payoff is going to be.
Right.
So it definitely, talk about community building. It helps to have some support to get these artists launched, get them in a good position.
Yeah. Yep. And so we don't have to worry about that and charging people, and I know it's already when you already know as a musician you're investing so much into your music career already, instruments alone and gear. I was just having a conversation not too long ago about backline, and it's like
oh my gosh, or just simple things, mic stands, microphones, all that. I often think, too, as like an artist with a lot of unreleased stuff, I think if I could just get paid like $3 an hour for every hour I spent pacing back and forth, wondering what to do next.
Right.
Wondering whether or not I should release this or change that bridge or whatever. Yeah, there's a lot of like labor of love stuff that goes into art and music, all those things. But yeah, man, I appreciate so much what you do for the scene.
Thank you.
I really appreciate you coming through. It's business time. We got Joe Belardo of Delaware Music Network here on week 36 of It's Business Time. Thank you all for hanging out, and definitely keep your eye on Delaware Music Network and go through that first Wednesday of the month at the Wilmington Library right up the street here. And that wraps it up again for week 36. Thank you guys for hanging out, and we will see you next time.
Peace.
It's business.